All right, let's get right into it, because we've all been here. You get that sudden, incredible burst of motivation for a brand new goal. You're going to get fit, you're going to write that book, you're finally going to learn that language. For a second there, you feel completely unstoppable. And then, what happens? A few days later, poof. It's just gone. That powerful drive, it just vanishes.
So what's the deal with that? Why does that incredible feeling, that powerful drive to change your life, just evaporate? Well, here's the good news. It's not you. You're not broken. You're not lazy. What's actually happening here is a totally predictable and frankly universal part of just being human.
So, before we can talk about how to fix it, we got to understand the problem, right? Let's take a closer look at why we're all stuck on this motivation roller coaster.
Okay, so it all starts with brain chemistry. You know that initial rush of pure excitement you feel when you set a new goal? Yeah, that's a dopamine spike. Your brain releases this chemical when it anticipates a reward, and man, it feels fantastic. But here's the catch, and it's a big one. It's a temporary high. As soon as that novelty wears off, the dopamine level drops, and that amazing motivated feeling, it crashes right along with it.
And on top of that chemical crash, you've got this other thing going on. Our brains are basically wired for efficiency. I mean, they're built to resist anything that feels overwhelming or unclear, or where the reward is way off in the future. So if your goal is just this giant, vague thing that's months away, your brain's gonna go, nah, let's do something easier. It's not you being lazy. It's your brain trying to save energy for what it thinks is more important, like immediate rewards.
So you've got the chemical crash working against you, and you have a brain that's always looking for the easy way out. And that combination right there, it leads to the single biggest mistake that almost all of us make when we try to stay motivated.
And here it is. This is the core problem. Most of us think, I'll take action when I feel motivated. We wait for the feeling. But motivation is just not reliable. It's a fickle emotion that comes and goes. The truth, what behavioral science tells us, is that real, consistent action isn't driven by feelings at all. It's driven by habits.
And this is the turning point. This is the big mental shift we have to make. We've got to stop relying on feelings and start building reliable systems.
So here's the most important takeaway. Stop trying to find motivation. It isn't something you just stumble upon, like your lost keys. It's something you have to actively engineer. You have to think like an engineer and build systems that make consistency happen no matter how you're feeling on a particular day. Okay, that sounds great, right? But how do we actually do that? How do we engineer consistency? Well, let's open up the toolkit and get into the practical how-to stuff. Honestly, it all boils down to 3 really simple but incredibly powerful ideas. Number 1, make it stupidly small. I mean, shrink your goal down until it's almost laughable, until it's impossible to say no. Number 2, use the 2-minute rule. Just commit to doing the first 2 minutes of whatever it is. And number 3, remove friction. You have to make starting the task as absolutely effortless as you possibly can. Let's make this super concrete. A goal like get fit, it's just too vague, it's overwhelming. Your brain just kind of freezes up. But what about do 1 push-up? See, that's so easy, it's almost harder to make an excuse not to do it. And here's the key. The goal isn't really the push-up. The real goal is to start becoming the kind of person who shows up. That one tiny action, that's your foot in the door. That's how you build momentum.
And this leads to a really profound psychological shift. Instead of focusing on some distant outcome like losing weight, you start focusing on the identity you want to build. So when you aim to just be someone who exercises daily, every single tiny workout, even 1 push-up, becomes like a vote you're casting for that new identity. And believe me, that is so much more powerful than just chasing a number on a scale.
And hey, remember how our brains are wired to want that instant gratification? Well, we can actually hack that and use it to our advantage. The second you finish your tiny habit, even if it's just writing 50 words, give yourself a small, immediate reward. It could be as simple as putting on your favorite song or just taking a deep breath and savoring the win. What that does is it reinforces the behavior with another little dopamine hit, and you're literally training your brain to enjoy the process.
So when you start putting all these pieces together, you end up with a completely different and way more effective way of thinking about what it actually takes to make progress and succeed.
Let's just be blunt about it. Motivation is overrated. Seriously. Relying on it is a fundamentally flawed strategy. Think about it like this. It's like trying to sail across an ocean only using the wind. Yeah, sure, sometimes the wind will be there and it'll be great, but you'd be crazy not to have a motor for all those days when the air is completely still.
This is your motor. This is the engine that actually gets you results. We're talking about systems you can rely on, habits that eventually run on autopilot, an environment that you design to make the right choice the easy choice, and just simple, consistent repetition. And notice the key thing here? All of that stuff, systems, habits, your environment, repetition, these are all things you can actually control. You can't control a feeling, but you can control these.
So let's wrap up with this, and I really want this to sink in. If you have ever struggled with motivation, please hear this. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're not weak. You are just playing the game with the wrong rulebook. You are relying on an emotional state that, by its very nature, is designed to fade away.
So the solution isn't to go out and find more motivation. The solution is to build a life where motivation is a bonus, not a requirement, where you don't need it just to get started. So the real question I want to leave you with is this. Forget how you feel right now. Forget motivation. What is one tiny, stupidly small system you can build today that will move you 1 inch closer to the person you want to become?